What's up, cryptocurrency world? I'm going to keep this video short. I got a lot going on today, but I wanted to make a quick video about some news that's happening right now in the crypto world. One of the biggest things that's happening right now is Bitcoin is losing its dominance, um, which I believe is actually balanced to a degree. And where Bitcoin's losing its dominance, someone else is taking it, or contributing elsewhere, however you want to say it. And everyone's concerned about the hard fork, so they're dipping into altcoins, different ones. And DashCoin has some sweet projects coming up, and I'm going to talk about one that's being talked about a lot. And there's some newer news that came out today that I'll get into in a bit. But here's an article off Bitcoin I want to leave a link to. Basically, it goes over what I talked about. It goes over from when Bitcoin was almost $1,300. I think it actually did hit $1,300, but don't hold me to that. I know it was well in the 1,200s solid for, like, I don't know, a week or something, and it's been bouncing in the thousands, like 1,000, 1,100, 1,000, 1,100. I think today it went down to 900. One of my tickers says it's 938. The other says it's 934. So it's right there now. If you want to put that in perspective, just at the end of last year, it was like 600, 700, maybe 800. Um, so it's still a significant jump in general for Bitcoin. They still have quite a bit of dominance, and the article that I put out yesterday explains some of the benefits to keeping Bitcoin alive with their companies they're working with. The anti-money laundering clause was resolved in many areas, and that company that I talked about yesterday will potentially allow 56,000 merchants to use Bitcoin as payment. So even though it's down in the 900s, it's still substantial value and still holds value, I guess. And once they figure out what to do with their transaction speeds and their scaling, they might again be a significant competitor to some of those altcoins that are up and rising. But this article goes into how much it's been losing. It's showing these huge spikes. Like, Bitcoin is notorious for spiking way up and coming down, spiking way up and coming down. However, if you look at the trend, you look at the chart. Um, Craig Grant brought this up. Our concern is not the bubble up; it's the bubble down. How far down will it go? Last time it spiked up to like $1,300 was several years back, and it was such a rapid growth that I mean, you were almost kidding yourself to believe that it would sustain that. So we were expected that to some degree, or you should have rather. And right now you should expect a drop. Where's it going to settle? Is it going to settle around 7,600? Still a huge gap between the next altcoin as far as actual value per coin, but not necessarily market value or market cap. So this talks about basically how they're not holding their dominance. It's like 68.5%. Guess what happens when they lose that dominance? Altcoins, Dash, it's just 103 right now. It's sitting at 102.92. That's where it's going. And Ethereum's going up, which is a little scary, to be honest. Everyone's talking about it right now. I feel like in 2 or 3 years it should be worth $100, but for it to be worth $50, like, I'm holding just one Ethereum. It was just coincidental. I withdrew it from my bank, so it took quite a while to get, because that's not the fastest way. Your credit card or buying it with different currencies is almost instantaneous, or is instantaneous, depending who you use. But I have exactly 1.0 ETH in my Exodus wallet here, and it's worth 51.56, which again is scary, because just a few months back this was 20 something dollars, high 20s. It was in the high 40s and then dropped to like 35 and is now up to 50. So where's it going to drop again? I don't know. I know they've got some sweet contracts coming out, some smart contracts, which is the whole, really, in my opinion, the whole point of Ethereum is to use these smart contracts and to use this as a technology coin versus a currency coin. Blockchain technology, as we know, isn't just a currency, it's a technology. You can use it to facet so many different avenues. You can use it to write code, to write a program, like voting systems and things. So for it to hold this high of value right now, Is it just because everyone's kind of dipping out a little bit on Bitcoin while they figure out their fork scenario, or is it because smart contracts are already starting to be released and they hold some sort of merit to why it's growing? But this article is pretty sweet. It goes into depth about exactly what's happening and more or less tells a longer version of what I just said. One of the other things I want to talk about, and I'm going to be talking about this a little bit more. I actually heard about this not long ago and listened to a couple podcasts that relate to it. It's a new way in the UK for them to push the green agenda. You can call it whatever you want. That's my opinion of it. I believe that we do need to not be relying on so many fossil fuels, and alternative fuels are the future. Solar is a big one, but I don't believe the technology is there to overcompensate or to compensate for cost, to compensate for what it produces, like the output version. But this company is basically incorporating a blockchain technology with solar and encouraging companies to go over. They get solar coins, and they can trade them back and forth. They'll hold a value, and the article basically writes it as if they're exploring it, but to the best of my knowledge, they're already on the cutting edge of this. And they're doing it in a few different countries, the UK, Germany, Austria, and I heard even more than that. I heard a few more countries. I don't remember the names, and I'm not going to pretend to know them. But this is a pretty interesting article, and I'll talk a little bit more about solar coins here in the future. So that's enough about those articles. I want to talk about what everyone's talking about right now, and I think is going to slingshot Dash again. The growth rate now has been steady. They've been maintaining the $90 to $110 range for a couple of weeks now, which is pretty sweet. I love seeing those payments every day. But there's quite a few articles about it. This is one that I'm going to tie to. This is Crypto, if you guys follow him on YouTube. I'm not going to play the video, but I will include the link. I wanted to give a little I wanted to throw a bone out, I guess, to steemit while including what I was talking about here, relative. So steemit is an awesome platform, which I'm just now getting involved in. I've had an account here for a couple weeks, and I'm still familiarizing myself. But it's a great way to bring some of the knowledge we're talking about in a forum / social media style setting and earn money off of it, earn money curating, upvoting, and Crypto also participates in this as well as YouTube. And I'm going to include his info here. But he has a good little 15-16 minute clip here talking about Charlie Shrem, which we all know is pushing this hard. They've actually got the proposal on the table and they're voting on it. I honestly don't see any reason whatsoever why this won't pass. I can't believe I always forget the name of this company, this competitor of PayPal that's how I'm interpreting it. It's a competitor of PayPal that's based out of the UK, that allows for, or the EU rather, that allows for very similar style banking as PayPal, but they're going to have a Dash card itself, which will not only be a card associated to an account, but there will also be a wallet directly associated with it. So when they do get up and running, and I am saying they do because I'm confident that this will pass, it's huge for the Dash community, cryptocurrency in general. Top of the fact, it'll be the only one in the entire United States that allows us to spend Dash by just simply transferring it to a wallet without having to put it in our bank account or whatever it might be. It helps everyone move the currency along. And when someone's able to spend the currency that they've been mining by just simply transferring it with their instant transfers, if you really need it right this second, but the transfers in general are fast enough that you wouldn't even have to instant transfer. When you're able to spend that, you've been mining it, you're getting it every single day, you go and spend it, you pull out your card, boom, I just bought this. Okay, I've been running hardware and or our cloud mining whatever your scenario is, and I just spent the money that I made. You get to see that profit get spent. I think that's huge. I think it's going to blow the community up. I think it's really going to push the market cap for Dash. Um, I also believe it's going to push the value for Dash up because it'll be easily spendable. Um, and yeah, so here's an article about crypto. I want to give a shout out to the actual interview of Charlie Shrem. I know a lot of people are playing clips regarding it, little context of it, and to be honest with you, I don't think that we really need to do that. It's out there. I'm going to leave the link so you can actually watch the interview. There's some audio issues from Charlie Shrem's end, I believe. Not pointing fingers, but there was a couple audio issues where having difficulty hearing them. I don't know if it was a connection, a speaker, or whatever, but for the most part, it's pretty easy to understand what he's talking about. And you can tell Charlie Shrem's not only excited about this project, but you can just hear it in his voice that he's already got another one right here. It's right up his sleeve. Well, I got my sleeves rolled down. Whatever, metaphorically, you understand. He's got another project up his sleeve, and I'm actually more excited about the next project because this one I feel is doing what should have already been done. Not to say that Dash wasn't trying or whatever. That's not what I'm implying. Um, but I felt like this was just, it was expected to some degree that this was going to happen. Who it was going to happen with, well, that might be debatable. But the point is, it's going to happen, or at least chances are extremely high. It's going to happen. And you can tell he wants to work with these developers. He wants to do more than just this. And one of the cool parts that I tied in Steem into this is because he mentioned Steem more than a few times. And we know that that platform's not going anywhere. Social media platforms tend to hold strength, especially when you don't allow them to be clouded with garbage, with spammers or whales in these scenarios. And Craig Grant does a really good job in explaining it. You can go back and check out some of his videos where he explains basically how they changed that experiment, and they have like a reporting system for whales. And there's actually another channel I'll put up tomorrow. There's Whale Watcher, and they can help identify some of those things. But it's putting the power back into the people that may not have powerhouses, for example, worth of steam and steam power, and just don't let anyone else curate, and don't let them upvote because there's only a certain amount of value that can be accrued throughout the day in general. So they broadened it out, and I believe the Steem has a real future, and I'm pretty excited to be involved in it. I hope to become a pretty regular blogger or contributor, however you want to put it, in there. So I wanted to include this, and later today potentially or tomorrow I'm going to be upgrading with John Crowther's his Genesis mining. Man, you can tell I just got off work. His Genesis mining upgrade code, his affiliate code. I'm going to be doing that either later today or tomorrow. I'm not certain if I'm going to have time. But I wanted to shoot out some of those articles. I wanted to bring you some of the news about Dash. We're going to talk about PIVX too, because there's a whole lot of I told you so is going on. To be honest with you, I've got a couple dollars in PIVX, but it's only because of an opportunity I see. I made like $150, $200 a few days back. I bought it dirt cheap. Just the day before Craig made that video, I bought it and then sold it when it was around 50 cents. So I like doubled my money. Maybe it was a little bit higher than 50 cents. I could probably go back in my history. I'm really new to Bittrex. I do all my trading through Poloniex. I find it much smoother and easier. However, Bittrex, I feel, gives you the opportunity to kind of just set things and walk away. So I could buy some stock on Bittrex, like PIVX, for example, and then set my sell amount for $1.20, whatever it is. I think I paid 50 something cents this time, and then go back, and whenever it reaches that amount, it automatically will sell as long as people are selling within that range, and I can just go back and collect it. I know there's some start-stop features or stop-sell features like that in Poloniex too. I just was able to pick it up quite quickly in Bittrex versus Poloniex. So I'll talk about PIVX. Not certain on my feelings yet. I'll tell you what. here's what my gut is telling me. This is what I'm feeling right here in my gut. Without doing a ton more research, I feel like they're a little late to attempt what Dash is already starting to make successful. Okay, they have a proof of stake versus how Dash has it set up. But the biggest problem that I see, okay, one, they don't have the capital. Yeah, sure, they're number 12 or 13 or something if you look at some of the websites as far as capital and growth. But they're so, I mean, it's so new. I mean, they're so new. Dash has revised itself to this. And now they're not doing major revisions. They're doing minor revisions to sustain it. Some of the problems that Bitcoin has, Dash didn't let become a problem because of their masternode system. And yes, Pivx has a masternode system. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they require 10,000 shares, not 1,000 shares. And although there might be some profit to be made in there, I think that every advance that they're making will be countered by what Dash is already capable of doing, and because of their capital currently, their voting systems and the developers that they have, they're not gonna let them get close enough to have already to stop their growth. And unless something significant happens in regulations throughout the world, I feel like there's going to be at a point where you can't help but deny Dash's growth. And it will either beat Bitcoin or be a direct competitor with Bitcoin as far as total value, and obviously blows them out of the water with security. There's just private transactions, getting paid for having master nodes. I mean, you have an incentive to participate in it. And I love Craig's analogy about the supernode, and obviously, you know, dipping in $4,000 or $5,000 to make a Dash a day is awesome. And I would love to have already been there, but it doesn't give you voting rights. It doesn't contribute directly to maintaining the network directly. It does indirectly, as in that it helps continue mining blocks, because obviously you're mining. But you know, there's a way to go. Okay, there's a circle. There's a balance here. All right, so you can mine it at an accelerated rate through Genesis mining, depending how long it takes you to get there, or you can directly be involved in it and vote with it. So there's a benefit to both worlds. If you don't want to vote, if you don't want to participate on that level of Dash, then you know, Genesis mining or hardware is definitely the way to go, because you can do it. Although buying hardware right now is basically impossible because it's sold out like everywhere. I've been looking. There's a handful of places. I've seen one machine that was up, but with Genesis mining and their affiliate program, it's almost ridiculous to not necessarily waste your time. I don't think that's the correct verbiage, but I would say that it's more profitable right now to go with a company that has well over 500,000 customers who are getting affiliates. So when we reach out to the community and talk about it, people upgrade and help each other out, like I'm trying to do. They get that. They get those upgrades. They get those incentives to stay with it, and it's not centralized. There's multiple locations from Genesis mining. So again, a balance, like we talked about. So anyway, I think I rambled on enough. I have this interview link that I'm going to put up from Cash Alternative TV. It was a pretty good interview, did pretty good. I subscribed to you. That was phenomenal. You know, Charlie Shrem is very busy with making this happen, so that was awesome. You got his time. And crypto, I love following crypto. I listen to him basically every day. I didn't know he was on steemit. I just happened to run across this, and I think it's pretty awesome that you made such a good video and promoted Steem and Dash at the same time, just like Charlie Shrem essentially is with this MasterCard. So I'll include these. I'll include this couple of articles I had, and look forward to an upgrade for John later. And yeah, it was awesome talking to you guys. Thanks.